Hi there and welcome to Adelaide RV. Today we're going to walk you through our first service. Now, our first service on a new caravan is really vitally important at the 1,000 kilometre mark or 3 months, whatever does come first. Today we're going to walk you through what we do here at Adelaide RV in regards to a first service to ensure that we set you up for success and show you exactly what we do on that day. Okay, so here we are. We're going to be running through the importance of having the first service on your brand new caravan. Things that we'll be doing is going through and we will be checking out and inspecting your wheel bearings and also inspecting your brakes. Now, it is vitally important. That is the most crucial thing at the start. Okay, as you take your caravan out, the very first few times that you apply your electric brakes, your brake shoes will drop a lot of brake dust. Okay, so as they bed in, it's really important that after that 1,000 kilometers, we're able to take the wheels off, take the hubs off, and we're able to clean them right out. Now, please note, we do not repack or replace your wheel bearings on this service. That is done at 10,000 kilometers or 12 months. This is simply an inspection and a cleaning of the brake linings and the hub drums. We'll then go through and adjust your brakes, your handbrake cable, and do it under body inspection. So we're looking for things like loose cables, anything that looks out of the ordinary in underneath your van. But guys, I'm just going to throw over to one of the service boys now, and they're going to give you a more in-depth look at this particular leader caravan that is in for a first service today.
So the first services are important for a couple of reasons. One is to maintain the dealership warranty, so we can find any small items that might pose an issue later on and get them rectified. And then also for you being the customer later on, if there are any issues that have arisen with the van, that we can then go back to the dealership and get them sorted under warranty for you. So when we get the booking for the first service, we each get a job that's created on a app that we use called Mechanics Desk. Basically, it gives us a rundown of what the job is, the check sheet with all the components that we're looking over, and then any additional information that the customer might have to relay on to us, the workers. So first up, we're going to jack up this leader expedition and support it, and we're going to check the undercarriage, mainly the wheel bearings and the braking components, clean them up, visually inspect them, and just make sure they're all working as they should. So during the first service, one of the main components that we want to look at is the electric brakes on the caravan. It's important to check that they're functioning correctly and there's no wear or tear on the components. With the setup of an electric brake, they all each have their own electric magnet. This is connected to your towing vehicle via the 12-pin plug, and your brake controller inside the vehicle will vary the voltage to these magnets. So basically what happens is when this magnet is energized, it will cause the magnet surface to contact the inside of the drum, and then that will then in turn move this arm, which will throw your brake shoes with the material onto the outside of the drum to cause it to slow down and brake. So this is all part of the first service, making sure that these are all clean, adjusted right, and functioning as they should. So now that we've taken the drum apart, we'll basically give it a good clean up, inspect all the components. We've got the brake shoes and the material. We've got the retaining clips, the springs, the electric magnet. Just make sure there's no unusual wear and tear. Then once it's all back together, we'll adjust the brakes, test them, and then you'll be on your way. So that's the first hub done. Now we'll just follow around, do the rear one, and then the two on the other side. Whilst it's jacked up, we'll also have a look at some of the other undercarriage components, meaning the shock absorbers, the suspension, and any grease points that it may have. On this independent suspension, it has grease points on the front of the control arms. So we'll check not only the condition of the shockies and the suspension components, but also torque up any nuts. Once that's all done, then we'll move on to the electronics and tyre pressures and the rest of the outside components. So here we have a 12 volt tester that we use in the workshop. We use it for any of our first service or yearly services on vans. Basically, it simulates anything that would be controlled by your car, your tow vehicle, when you're hooked up. So we've got a range of switches here, which would in turn activate the electric brakes or the indicators, any lights, also any auxiliary power running through the 12-pin plug. We also have reverse camera monitor for checking the operation of that, adjusting the height if needed. We also have the grey and red Anderson plug, which may or may not be on your caravans as well. So when the van's jacked up, we've already inspected the bearings and brake components. We want to test the brakes and make sure they're working. So we come over to our test box here. We flick on the feed for the electric brake, and then we go and check if that's in fact locked the wheels up. So now the undercarriage has been done, the van's back on the floor. What we can do is we can come to our test box again. We can chuck the indicators on, left and right. We can chuck the tail lights on and also the brake, and then just do a walk around the van, make sure they're all working and secured. Now we can move on to some of the other aspects of the first service, like checking the external screws for tightness, silicone work on the roof, and various other areas around the van. So now that we've completed the external undercarriage part of the first service, now we'll move towards the inside check. Here we'll go over most of the regularly used parts of the van: cupboards, appliances, plumbing, electrical, and basically we'll just check and make sure that there's no minor issues that have the potential to cause damage or get worse later on, and we'll fix them as soon as we find them. So that pretty much wraps up the main checks we do on the first service. On top of the things that we check all the time, there's also some items that the customer might have pointed out in lead up to this booking. If that's the case, then we'll pay particular attention to those items, rectify any faults they may have, and also on top of that, look into depth anything that we found ourselves. And if that's the case, we'll have to document it on the job, and then that can then go to the factory for approval, and then we can either fix that straight away depending on your time restraints, or get you back at a next booking and look at it then. A lot of the checks we do on the vans, especially during the first service sort of intervals, related to the safety of the van, and also finding any underlying issues that may be there before they eventuate into anything major. Obviously it's up to us to check over these, make sure they're right for the customer, and from here you can go off on your next trip with no issues at all. So that concludes the first service on this van, this beautiful Leader Expedition, and it's now ready for the customer to come pick up.
That is it for this short little video on first services here at the Adelaide RV Service Centre. It's been an absolute pleasure showing you through what a day here in the service centre looks like. Again, this particular one today was all happening in the same day. A drop off in the morning, and as you've just seen, we've just picked up in the afternoon. Until next time guys, keep on travelling. Thank you very much.